Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Fateless podcast episode, and we've got a fun one today. Joining us are two special guests, Ladarsky and Ori from Heimdall Games, so embarking on their game development journey as well. So I'll pass it to you guys for a quick intro on kind of what you're up to and what you're all about.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Well, my first name is Ori, but I think two Oris is maybe too problematic, so it will be with Ori. I'm already used to that. So Ori, and 30 years old. I was in Plarium for the past 3 years, and now we decided to open our own studio, Heimdall Games. After a lot of thinking and decisions to be made, and also seeing your progress yourselves, definitely inspired us. And I'm coming from a business perspective, and Ori is a guy that I met. I think it's now 7 years ago. Yeah, it shows that we're starting to get old. He was the CTO in the company I worked for, which called Fanatics. It was before Plarium. Daryl was the product manager, and this is how we met. And yeah, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah. So we met when I had air. So that's nice.
Whoa.
Yeah, we met
It's tough times, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we met in Fanatics. Actually, I won another gaming company. Yeah, I've been working there for like 6 years. Then I moved to Innovate, continue on the technical part. I didn't mention that I'm the CTO of Heimdall Games. That's on a nutshell.
Well, quick extra context. So you guys are running Heimdall Games. What are you guys making? Like, what's the game? Like, let's hear more about it.
Yeah. So we haven't also mentioned that, but we're players. We love to play games, maybe a little bit too much, and this is also like one of the reasons that.
Oh, maybe start there. Like, what's your favorite games? What type of genres do you guys like? Because I feel like whenever I do this, and I start going backwards about some of the games I used to play. And
like, hang on, I played these games,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, it's like tick, tick, tick. So yeah, give us some of your faves.
I think that the first game that it really started for me when I understood, okay, I'm going to be a gamer for the rest of my life, was actually Maple Story.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, I remember myself, like I still didn't have a computer of my own. I was like 8, 9 years old, so I was always asking my mom to go to our uncles, and they had like a proper rig. So I was going to their house and just playing at night, like 2 a.m. 8-year-old playing Maple Story. And
there's always that cool uncle that's got a system, and you're like, can I just please go over?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
To play those kind of games that we're not supposed to play. Like, this is how I play GTA for the first time.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, just love games, love single player games, Mass Effect, Borderlands, games that I just loved along the way. I think in 2012, something like that, was the first proper mobile game that I like to play, which is Clash of Clans. Also, I spent way too much time there. And
same.
We all did.
Like my gaming
Yeah, we all
journey.
did.
Yeah. And I found myself like 7, 8 years ago joining the gaming industry at Fanatics, where this is, as I said, I met Ori there. I worked there for 3.5 years, and then I moved on to Plarium, where I was in a business development role, basically managing our partnerships with the platforms, Apple, Google, and launching the game during this time on new platforms such as Steam and the Epic Store and the Microsoft Store and PC, and many different projects. So this is basically what started my love into gaming, and then I saw it from behind the scenes. So when we joined forces and said, okay, we want to develop a game, we want to do something, we all came with it with a lot of passion. So there are projects that we knew we want to do, and then we added the part of thinking what we should do from a business perspective.
Yeah.
And I think the first thing we did is starting researching, Ori?
Yeah. So yeah, we researched like a lot. We spent days and nights researching a lot of genres in the mobile industry, and we came up with lots of them. Obviously,
what sort of things are you researching though? So if someone's like starting out to say, actually what makes sense from a from a game studio in terms of obviously you want to be profitable as well as create a cool product, right? So yeah, talk us through the type of things you were doing there when you're researching.
So we actually we started with just that. So we built like the metrics, like what dimensions we want to look at, like growth, like how big is the genre, how big is going to be in years to come, like the complexity of introducing a new game, like how much innovation we could bring into the new genre. For players, essentially, like we love games. We want people to enjoy our games, and on top of like doing a good business here. And also we look at the trajectory, like what we want to do with that, like how big it's going to be, and in those cases. And also like the complexity. Eventually we're building a game. The mobile industry is not an easy one. So we wanted to build something that we can actually do. It's that's the promise that we bring to our investors and for ourselves. Essentially, we want to build a good game, enjoyable one, and essentially a profitable one.
How big is the team? And like, is it a requirement that everyone is named Ori, or is this a no?
Um, at the moment, it's basically the two of us. We're the initial founders of the studio, and we are the ones putting in most of the work at the moment. And all the time, we're using like outsourcing companies and things like that to help us propel our progression. But we're definitely thinking about mandating that everyone should be named Ori in the studio. Yeah.
I mean, so far, 100%, 100% right?
Exactly.
So you guys are good. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And so I mean, I guess so we have a little bit of the research in what the background, like okay, the type of game, maybe the complexity, the scope. You guys kind of figured that out, and then like what was the next step? Was it like did you then go for the vibe, or did you have a vibe in mind? I mean, I heard Maple Story, but what are maybe some of the other things that you were like, we heard quite a broad genre, but maybe there was some inspiration taken from your time at Plarium, or where did kind of the next steps come from?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, we're looking, as Ori mentioned, at what we want to do, where is potential in terms of the genre and the market, and what is also for us easy to make and fast to make to get to the market and see what players want. But at the end of the day, we after doing the research and things like that, we of course also had our story that we want to do something with what we already know how to do, and this is like RPG kind of games like Raid Shadow Legends, which I haven't mentioned, but I wasn't only working in Plarium, I also play Raid a lot, so yeah, this is definitely something that we both want to do, and but we wanted to see how we can bring not like Ray 2.0. Yeah, you guys are already handing this direction, but we wanted to see how we can move the Raid experience into something new, into a new genre. For us, it's idle RPG.
What particularly parts of the experience are you guys like, we want to try and harness this because we think it's like valuable to a different genre?
So today, idle RPGs, to those that maybe don't know those kind of games, Legend of Mushroom is maybe the biggest one in terms of revenue and user base. But there are many different options, like Idle Heroes and High Seas Heroes and Capybara Go, and many new kind of games that are entering this scene right at the moment. But for us, what we are noticing is, first of all, in terms of the art in most of those games, it's the compatibility to basically the Western audience, to us guys from, the US, UK, Germany. And the difference is because most of those games today are made in the East. So there is this of difference in the vibe of those games, and also in the mechanics themselves. For example, for the first time we tried those games, we saw some things that we weren't accustomed to in terms of mechanics, and then we can see how we can add the Doom Towers and the dungeon raids and things like that to idle RPG games, basically.
If I might add, like the genre is like, at the moment at least, it's severely underdeveloped. Um, Even the mid-core features, they're not like super relevant to the Western audience. There are a lot of things that you can do there that, let's say that in some Western countries, it wouldn't be like PC. For example, you can imprison people.
Right.
They just recently removed that, but it's just like you get the idea that they are lacking like features. Like if we again taking example from Raid Shadow Legends that are super fun for us, like the entire fights, like the dungeon, the progression, you always having fun, like finding a new legendary hero and finding like an insanely good item and all of that. That's like one of the feelings that we see that, for players that they are missing. They don't have that in those
Yeah.
games. Um, and it continues with a lot of spiel, like a business spiel about like how it can be improved. But yeah, it's really lacking.
Yeah, I can also say that I think it was yesterday that we talked about um, what we think made Raid this kind of big game that is now succeeding for basically 6 years, which is not that common. And it's just how the game was built in this sense of it's not enough just to have amazing gear in the game or to have amazing heroes or something like that. You need to have both of them basically. So there are a lot of systems that you need to progress in, and then suddenly there are awakenings and things like that. That each of them isn't good enough by its own. You need a little bit of everything to make the best characters for PvP and then dungeons and factions and things like that. So um, this way that the game was built just allows the game to thrive. And for myself, I'm playing it now for almost 4 years and having the time of my life. And today we basically find it missing in the genre in the idle RPG, and this is the kind of things we want to bring there.
So help me understand, like, just like the move into an idle RPG, because I'm just gonna my understanding of what an idle RPG is that you can kind of set it to go. You've got your team all set up. You may have geared your characters. I'm not sure if you guys are doing a team, but it could be a team, could be an individual. Like Hyper Go is just like one character, but then they've got the little you know. Um, so help me understand like the specifics of how you're kind of bringing some of those mechanics to the idle genre in a sense.
Yeah, well, I
or
think one of
or the you want to talk about, but obviously the like
yeah, at the moment we have a lot of ideas. There is one that I mentioned in a second, but at the end of the day, we are also we want to build a community of players like us that are passionate about that. They see this potential and can help us also um, make the right decisions and not just things that we think there will be the right thing, the right way to go with. Um, but at the moment, one of the things that we are looking at Raid and want to basically bring to the idle RPG genre is sets basically of gear types. As in Raid, you have the stun set and provoke set and stone skin and things like that. Not all of those can move to the idle RPG genre, but just bringing this small element to the genre that is missing in the moment can already just open a lot more directions of um, like different bosses that you need specific gear types to fight against. And then with the gacha mechanics and the luck base, such as in Raid, you need to actually develop your character and think of strategies of how
so
you
really
can.
those sets and weapons or whatever those things are going to be the core of the way that you interact with it, because I mean, in a sense, with an idle, you're not going to be coming in and pressing. I mean, I don't know how idle you're going. So there's like a spectrum of idle. There's like I literally show up and I've been gone for 3 hours and I get some stuff. That's pretty idle, right? Then there's like, well, I need to go into battle, and it sounds like this is more the direction you're talking about, right? I've got a boss, and that boss, if I don't stun him every 3 rounds or whatever, then he's gonna wipe my team. Let's just winging it as an example. Is it more in that direction? Because and would it be that I need to time that, as in I press a button in real time to stop them from doing something, or is it, well, I've set up my team and my gear, or my character and my gear, such that this mechanic goes off as I want it to? Which end are you kind of leaning?
Yeah, so it's the second one, but I think that like the magic of the genre is that you start very easily. It feels like a casual game, like it's a one-button game. You just like forge equipment, you get random equipment, and that's fun. You wipe out bosses, you keep on progression, and it's amazing. But then as the game progresses and you unlock more, meta progression like dungeons, Doom Tower, and all of that, then you need to min-max things. Then you need more theory crafting. Like you need specific equipment or specific stats or even specific skills or paths and all of that to be with you to create the perfect combo, to win, essentially. So there will be these types of regressions, but then the game allows you essentially, even from day one, but it also incentivizes you to put things in a more manual perspective. Like I want to control when the skills and specific skills are being casted, right? It's not like automatically now. So you need to min-max. Like in this moment, I want to deploy my shield, or in this moment, I want to apply like.
So you will have like an ultimates button in like a Dragonair style,
yeah. So you have a bunch of skills, and we're thinking about like a lot of cool ways, to make them, complement each other in a way, like with effects and all of that, and together with gear and the specific environment, like to create like a very challenging, piece of equipment or a very challenging piece of. Sorry.
No,
and then you can
sorry.
go ahead, fight it.
No, carry.
No, that's actually was it.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to say like, what's been some of your biggest challenges from sort of setting up as standalone now group? You've done your research, you've done a lot of work, but obviously you're a relatively small team, new studio that's been founded. Like what's I guess held you back or made you think differently to perhaps what you had originally planned?
Well, I think from an internal perspective, maybe the thing that we find ourselves fighting the most on the daily basis is just um, having all those ideas from our experience from playing all those games, and there are so many different directions you can take this game into, and all of them sound amazing. Definitely, I would have wanted to pursue any of those, but then you need to come to the realization of the small thing and of the small team, and that you need to focus on what will be as many people of our audience, potential audience, will like, or what can be the best for monetization purposes and things like that from, again, from the business perspective. So you really need to focus on what you have to do at the moment and not stray too far to too many projects and too many ideas. You actually need to know what is happening now, what will be your next focus in terms of features and things like that. So I think for me personally, it may be the biggest challenge at the moment.
So it's kind of, so it's effectively you're saying game design. Like, so are you saying that the and I guess between the two of you, who's like leading that game design, or is it just like, you know what, no, we're working together because it's such a small team, and we're sharing a vision, and then like what drives that game design? So is it, are so this is a multi-layered question, so you guys get a little bit of extra time. Is it that you have a lore and an aesthetic that you're trying to push and promote, or is it something else? I guess I'll let, and then you can talk about what that lore and aesthetic may be.
So first, you asked like about the dynamic between the two of us. So when we went into that, we definitely want to bring a little bit of each of us. Like we're players. We're also pretty like complementing each other. Or we haven't like talked about his favorite games, but he's more of an online player than me. If you want to talk about it now, maybe.
I'll take it from this. So my experience in gaming involves a lot of RPG. I think I just recently made the calculation, and I think I have more than 100,000 hours on RPG games. Like,
wow.
Yeah, since I started. I celebrated the Diablo 3 with almost 7,000 hours solely on this game.
A Diablo player, let's go.
That's about tied with me. There you go.
Nice.
I actually started like the first game that I had on my game was GTA 2. My sister bought it to me, and then when she saw like the game, she said, "I can't believe I just bought it to you." So yeah, so I had a very long experience for GTA 2, GTA 3, and Vice City, and all of those. But yeah, ever since like Diablo 2 came out, I was insanely like I spent my time, my summer vacation, all of that, like playing, I think 17, 18 hours a day. And then Lineage 2 came out.
Lineage.
I think it's a very underappreciated game. Like I played it a lot. It was amazing. Back in the time that when everyone played like MU, which I also played, and World of Warcraft and all of those, I was heavy on Lineage 2. And
You were willing to grind. I mean, really,
yeah.
the question mark is, are you willing to grind? That's Lineage. If you're not willing to grind, sorry, buddy, you're not.
Yeah. Back in the time, obviously, I was in school, so
Right.
you have time. You don't
Yeah.
have the responsibilities you have now. But yeah, so we bring a lot of like uh features and the fun and the experience we're looking for, both in multiplayer game from Ideal RPG for Ideal RPG. One of the actual things that we saw missing in the genre is that you don't have RPG, you don't have role playing, you just like have constant progression. You don't have anything. Everything is linear. You don't have any real sense of selection and customization, personalization of things, which is what we really, really love. And so we bring a lot of features, and ideas from both worlds, like the single player, the combat, even the lore, the environment, the story, and all of that. But we also like to bring a lot of things from, multiplayer game, the joyfulness of playing together, building a clan, progressing together, challenging together. Actually, the same things that you guys, I guess, were working
Yeah.
on. You have the clan boss and all of that, and all of the features around like clans and guilds and all that's super fun. Like that's the things that essentially, when you play with others, that's the things that make you stay in the game, like the progression and all of that.
It's actually exactly what we said. So, if we think about some of the games that we've enjoyed the most and think back to like why did we actually have those moments? Like what was the real sort of hype points? And I think of I played a lot of World of Warcraft, like 10 years, and my highlight was, the Friday night raid where it's like pushing for new content. But I'd spend all day doing the grind so that when we come to raid point, with anywhere from 10 to 40 players, you are ready and you're like part of a cog. And if you're not doing your job really well, you're letting everyone else down. So this kind of like feeling of part of a group, part of a team. And that was the same for me in a different way for like Clash of Clans. It's like I was done with Clash of Clans really probably a good year before I stopped playing it, because like I come in, it's like, dude, we need you for the war. Like, so every other day I'm back in there.
Come
like,
on,
okay,
man.
which ones do I need to hit? And like, I'd like 3 different accounts in my clan, and like, it was like a big deal for me. It was a big deal for me to not let other people down in these kind of like situations. And and it was great seeing, when I was really into that game at its fullest, it was like, right, I'm going to watch other people's attacks as they're doing it. People coming in and watching mine. We're talking about strats. I'm setting up my base so they can like practice a battle. Like all of these things, it was all about the group. If you take the group away from that, it's actually quite a dull game. But because you're experimenting and playing together, and so yeah, for us that was a major factor actually in terms of what we're trying to achieve is how do we bring as much of that as we can in really what is generally quite a solo genre. This a lot of these games that we're talking about generally now are like solo gameplay, but with a sprinkling of other people in the mix. So it's like, how do we really bring it back to playing as a group? And because that's where a lot of the fun comes from, I think.
Well, and how do you guys kind of plan to crack that nut in a sense, right? So like, I mean, you were talking about an idle RPG. So if I'm kind of like trying to figure out where you guys on the spectrum, it feels like you're somewhere beyond a little beyond Go and maybe before a Dragonair, somewhere in
like
here.
AFK Journey, maybe
AFK
something
Journey,
like that. Yeah.
So talk to me about like how you want to make it so, or how you are thinking about, and maybe you don't have the specifics of it quite yet, because maybe we can talk about the stage that you're at as well. of actually making that happen, right? So yeah, I guess kick it over to you guys on the how to make that happen, how to make that such an engaging community experience.
You want to start?
No, please go.
Get in
So
there, man.
actually, yeah. So there are a lot of sorry, there are a lot of different aspects to it. I would say that the very first thing that we want to do as a company is actually push the game into the market. Like, we want to see what people like. We want to see how they enjoy each feature before we overbuild it or before we take it to our own direction.
Right.
So that's like the base of the things. Later on, what we want to essentially do is to take a lot of the features that make you play together. If you can take, obviously, most of your audience is from Raid Shadow plays, to the Raid Shadow Legends players. So the clan versus clan, all of the clan bosses, all of those group fights or group dungeons and all of those are pretty great. So we want to start with those. But then you need to make sure, like you said about Clash of Clans, we need to make sure that it's not like a homework. It's not like a thing you need to log in every day and you have like 4 hours of required content. And if you're not doing that, you're probably not helping enough to your clan. So those kind of things are the major balance points that we need to look at. Like, and those are actually very tough nut to crack. So it's not like no one has, the perfect solution, or there isn't like a formula to understand those. You need to always get feedback from your players, get feedback, watching the KPIs, watching everything, seeing what people like, seeing what people don't like, reviewing and all of those. Even survey, it's not like, it's not a bad word. We
Yeah.
need
Well,
people to
but
tell us.
what's that? I mean, I love that iterative kind of. We're gonna get it out. We're gonna test it. We're gonna get people to feel it and stuff like that. What's I guess that starting point that you guys are thinking about, right? Like, what is that first experience for people if if they want to check it out, like when they're thinking, all right, I'm gonna play one of Heimdall games, which I need a name for, which maybe you guys don't have a name for, but you can say if you do. If I want to play this game, what is that first experience or that first iteration of the game going to potentially feel like, I guess?
Yeah. Um, well, at the moment, the stage we're at is that we started development of our game, and we developed a version with about 15, 20 minutes of gameplay. Um, at least this is how we look at the game. This is the
Nice.
point where we feel it's fun and actually engaging, and we already want to get it out and start seeing how players react to that. For us, it's basically, as I mentioned before, what's good about idle games is this: it's almost a no-brainer. This kind of game that you find in the store, try it out, and you suddenly find yourself more in the game. So for us, we want to check that initially players enjoy. They just get good feedbacks, and uh, they get their first gear, and they're starting to think, okay, how much better the next kind of gear will be, and how will it improve my character, and what will happen. And we want to see the sense of, okay, something new opens each and every time, and suddenly there are dungeons inside of the game and things you have to explore, and maybe options to get better gear, and things like, for example, in Raid we have shards. So compared to those kind of shards, we're planning to have ores, which will help you get better gear, basically. So things like that, of better rarities. And we want players to see how much they are basically trying out those basic mechanics, and from there on we want to get their feedback and see what is the direction we should go now. uh yeah.
I think that one more thing that I think it sets you up for success is the fact that you have a community. Like, you get
Yeah.
all the people riled up on features. You already have like a lot of information, a lot of knowledge about what people want and all of that. And from our perspective, we would like to build this community. So we will start with, from zero. You obviously have that already, but we have to start from zero, building community. And watching closely about their activity and all of those in order to enhance the game for the game.
Well, so to speak to that end of the community, I mean, obviously there's people that are watching this, and if can they play this first version? Is that something that is accessible? Like, where does this live, or if it's accessible, where does it live, and how would they get a hold of it?
At the moment, we launched the game on Android devices for internal testers. So we are actually opening like a small community for our own on Discord. We want people to join there and basically give them the access to join the internal testing phase of the game, and this will be the like our first feedback. So yeah, it is accessible. Just
That's super exciting. But hang on, where's my
we'll
invite?
pin that down below. If you give us a link, we'll pin that down below. People can come and check it out.
Definitely,
So,
we'll send you a link, and I think we already also shared the game with you guys. So
yeah.
You should be internal testers also.
We've got you, but like
Secret society. No one, you cannot speak.
That's right. That's right. This is,
Fight Club.
First rule. The first rule. You guys know. Come on, man. But that's super exciting. And so you got the Discord. We'll get people that are interested to come in and try it out. But so you're basically ready to get that first wave of feedback then. That's pretty exciting. Like how long did it take you to get from 0 to hero?
Well, was a 2-people development for 4 weeks basically to develop this version. Yeah. One of our like friends here from the community he is also a founder who built his own studio already. He told us like, guys, don't wait too long. You should ship your game, at least for the first version, for the first testers, exactly the moment that you will be ashamed of the product. This is the best time.
Really interesting, actually. Yeah. That's interesting. Like we're coming up for our first kind of like, I guess, big alpha. And I guess we've had a version, we've had a demo which we've taken to different events, and we've kind of like watched people play our game over the shoulder, seen all the things I
tried it in one of those events.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the funny thing is, like, stuff that you think should just be so simple and intuitive for a player. I'm literally watching over people's shoulder. I'm like, why is no one using an ult? Why is no one using an ultimate? Where it's like, to me, I feel like this is kind of this thing's glowing and no one has noticed it. So stuff like that for us was really valuable early on, and it's completely changed some of the sort of UI UX experience for the game. And yeah, we're super psyched now, obviously, when we get to our alpha to have a bit more of a fleshed out version. But it's definitely interesting. We've been a bit in this camp of, because we've got this big community with honestly quite high expectations, we've been unsure at what levels we should release, because for us it's like, look, we can tell people it's grey box or early access, whatever you want to call it. There's still an impression, right? There's still a feeling of, did you hit the bar? And I could tell people this is not finished, and the next 10 comments will be like, this doesn't look finished.
This doesn't feel finished. You're like,
that's
Yeah.
that's a problem in those
Usually
things.
what we were doing at Ethereum when we were testing games is doing the very worst kind of screen we can, so no one will even think this will be the end version, the end goal.
Oh, you made it look so bad that it was like, they're like,
so bad
they
that
can't possibly ship with this.
In fairness, we did do that too.
Yeah.
And still, that like that, I guess there's an expectation of things are much faster than they actually are to do. And it sounds like you guys have been really quick actually at getting to that first, like demo phase, which is cool. But even for me, coming into this as I'd say as a novice, as a game developer, 2 years ago, the pace to produce a game of the sort of quality we wanted has been slower than I thought it would be. And the community's expectation is that it's actually taken a lot longer than it has. But that's just because I think because we've shared so early. So you've got this kind of like pace of build. You've then got the cost associated with team and pace, and we've had to do 2 investment rounds, and perhaps we talked about your side of that in a second. And then obviously you've got gameplay, feedback, constant communication with people that actually enjoy the genre and stuff like that. So I guess how have you tackled those 3 different things? So I think there's 3 kind of like core things there in terms of pace, cost, and the sort of quality stroke feedback.
Yeah. As you mentioned, there are just so many things to juggle once you're going this route of, okay, I'm
Yeah.
going to do a game of my own. And a lot of people don't know because they just get the finished product, but there is so many stages behind the scenes that you have to do. Of course, from a building perspective of building the game, but also the investment side of talking to investors, on talking to peers from the industry, different outsourcing companies and content providers and things like that. So there is definitely a lot of work. I think our strong suit in this sense is that we are coming from already developing games in the past. So this is something that we know how to do, and this is our sweet spot in a sense. But at the same time, as first time founders, we are now uh, seeing this like investment landscape and talking to investors and all of these side of things. And yeah, there are many things, just a story that came to my mind when you talked about like giving players your demo and seeing behind the shoulder like what they do. Um, when we developed our MVP and gave players to test our game, suddenly we saw that they don't know how to equip a piece and sell like the other one because at the moment you have one piece before we have the inventory. So and we saw that they were really struggling with it. So we sat down and made a couple changes and then changed it. And I think a week later, we had actually a meeting with the parent founders. We met with them to show them the game and hear their feedback. And the very first sentence they said, or they looked at the game, it was like, "Wow, you did an amazing job with again."
Oh,
Like,
really? Nice. Yeah.
yeah,
That's amazing.
That's really cool. That's it. That's so rewarding, right? When you
exactly.
because you're actively trying to fix an issue, and then when it is, it's like when you manage to do it. That's a really rewarding
So
feeling.
satisfying. Yeah.
Definitely. So yeah, so many things and
Yeah.
just minute things that you wouldn't expect at the beginning that you now need to really think about.
Yeah, it's that continuous improvement, isn't it? Because I know from build to build, when we have these kind of like real, I guess, landmark milestones, and I remember back to one of the first builds, and I was like, "Damn, we've got a game, and it looks cool," and then I look back at what that game looked like now, and we've obviously had like a few milestones since then. And like, damn, that first build looks so bad. Like,
yeah, it's like hard to you'll have to look at it like.
but it's just like
ooh.
just as things improve, as things grow, yeah, I find it extremely rewarding. Like that side of it's really cool.
Maybe you guys can talk about the full scope of. So you've done this MVP kind of in 4 weeks. It sounds like that's incredibly fast. And you said it's about 15 minutes. I guess two questions. One, do you feel like that gets to the heart of the core of the core loop, right? The core of what players are doing. And then two, what do you picture as the full scope of the game? Like, so if you were to if you guys were all set with all the other factors and you figured out what you needed, how long do you picture that cycle of actually building the game out would probably be? Obviously there's roadblocks and maybe you get some feedback you need to change, but just a guess, right? What do you kind of picture?
I would say like that depends. Like it depends on the vision and the strategy. Like when you start building the game, everything feels nice. Like you see it, evolves. You all of a sudden have characters. You have skills. Like it becomes fun. But then when you need to think of like extending the loop or building the actual loop, the meta progression, then you have a lot of like junctions. Like when you need to decide on which route to take the game to. So you can't plan too far ahead. Like whenever you build a game, which I think people don't really know like how like hard it is. Like when you need to spend like hours and hours building something and then like saying, but we could do it better.
Yeah.
And have to like
tear it all down, try again.
Scrap it. Yeah, man. Yeah. I've seen that
you're
a
in
few
a
times.
dilemma whether you want to really build it from the beginning again or not. But then you build something and you need to see like how people react to that. So from our perspective, we are very certain that we will finish the game, like the core game, within a year. That's like one of the advantages of building a 2D game as opposed to a 3D game.
Yeah.
And obviously the CCRPG introduces a lot of, barriers like to get into, like when you mentioned that it took you a while to build a demo. The requirements is to have
Of
like
course.
hundreds of heroes.
Yeah.
That's pretty hard.
Yeah.
So to build a game that is very fun and have like a complete progression, it will take us less than a year. Obviously, it depends on the versioning and all of that. But then you need to set yourself to KPIs, like to see how people react to the game, what they want, how they can it further be improved. In which case we think it will take us less than 18 months or so, including improvements and improvement cycles and all of those.
So 18 months as a guess to launch. Is that what we're
Yes.
saying? So
To launch
soft launch or
globally.
launch, global launch.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're also we already in this week we're gonna be launching in Eastern countries like the Philippines and Indonesia, to start getting feedback and bringing people into the game.
Well, so
Very exciting.
help me understand that part of it. So you're saying that you're gonna launch, you're gonna put the game out with 15 minutes or so, or whatever it is, 20 minutes of experience. I mean, it's free, so it's like, sure, people will download it. What are you hoping to? What are the KPIs you're hoping to get there, right? Because I mean, 15 minutes of experience is it? Did they fin? Really, it's just a 0-1. Did they finish? Or well, yeah. I guess I'll be quiet. What are you guys? What are the KPIs you're looking for?
Well, when we are referring to it as a 15-20 minutes game time, in this version, actually you can play it for more, because at the end of the day you just need enough energy to and like use the main mechanic, the cores, and pulling out new gear. So we brought the game to some of our friends here in the industry, and they played it for 3-4 hours. So it's possible, but for someone who is not our friend, it's probably already not. It's after the part where it's fun to continue and do that.
Is there enough content? I guess is the question. Like, is there enough gear, enough characters, enough whatever? Because I mean, I suspect that a large portion of this, if you're aiming it towards raid, or games like that, is that you're collecting stuff, right? So is there enough content, I guess, for that, for it to
So
remain fun?
as I said, we think there's enough fun for around 20 minutes, but potentially you can continue on and playing it more. Yeah, we have like 11 rarities of gear just going up and up and up. So ideally, yeah, you can play it and continue even for days, but probably we don't expect users to do that. For us at the moment, it's basically just checking, first of all, the technical side, making sure that everything was developed, and even low-end devices and things like that will be supported, and they can experience the game as we intend them to. And at the same time, for us, session times and maybe amount of sessions. Maybe someone liked the game, played only for 10 minutes, but then logged again for another 2 sessions the same day. It's already first signals that the first experience was fun enough. Then he, of course, maybe wouldn't have anything else to do, but he did log in again to the game and try to check if there
And is it scaling, infinitely scaling enough that you could just play for a decent amount of time?
Yeah, for example, we made for the main campaign of the game, we made only one map. We have one map with the boss and enemies at the moment, but we just you can continue on to the second map. It just will look the same boss and everything. In terms of game design, it will be more difficult, but it will look exactly the same. But
Yeah.
you can continue on for
And,
one.
and are you thinking that the metrics that you can gain from this sort of small window, obviously they help you in terms of the technicals and stuff like that, but is it also a window towards being able to bring in some of the sort of VC investors around metrics? I know one of the challenges we had and have had right the way through, honestly, is like, well, we don't have metrics. We did not do that approach. So at this point, the alpha and kind of like tower experience that we're going to drop in July, it's probably the first time where we really get like a sense of metrics, like proper data that we could share with people. So, I mean, we're super fortunate that we've got this great community, and some of that community wanted to invest, and so we were able to raise in a different way, but it's really not the usual way to raise funds for a project like this. So is that one of the sort of key things that you guys are looking for?
Well, yeah. First of all, I think the main reasoning is for us internally. We wanted that. We want to make sure, as we are not starting with this amazing community. We want to start and build it and actually see what players of the games.
That's true. I guess gathering people up and saying
That's
like,
the
hey,
other
if you
thing.
like
Yeah,
that.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
I think also a lot of today's like amazing hits on PC, if we look at the PC world, for example, one of the games I like the most in the last 12 months is Balatro. So just seeing those games and seeing how they play and creating this community around those games, it's something that we want to do. It's actually test the features and see how it goes and how it plays. But yeah, also as you mentioned, the investment, how the investment in gaming works at the moment. We also need to show our investors some numbers and to show them their actual results of the game and how it performs. So yeah, it's basically a mix of both.
I will also like challenge your audience a bit. Like, think of either Raid or Godforge for those who had the chance to play it. Think how small this game could be. Like, remove any feature, remove everything, and find the first point that you're enjoying the game. Like, remove everything. What happened if we didn't have any clans? What happened if we had only 10 heroes from each, rarity type?
Yeah.
How small could it be? And you can still enjoy it. Like, I think that's the hardest part. Like, you need to find this. This is your nuclei, if you would say.
Yeah.
And then, grow from there. So I think like
it's definitely it's super interesting hearing you talk about it, actually, because it's different from what we're doing, but I could see exactly what you're saying. It's like, if we just, like, right now we could put something out that players can play and experience with way less scope, like massively less scope.
Yeah.
And they would still have the general gameplay feel. And sometimes that's probably enough to measure, I guess.
Yes,
but measure and good for community building, which I think is a big part of what you guys are doing, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Also, there is an inherent difference between genres. This is also something
to
mention. Yeah, for you, even probably the smallest part you need is still pretty big.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that's I think where we've ended up. But
yeah, a lot of people said to us, for your first project, this is really big. But it's the way it goes. It's the way it goes.
Yeah. But I mean, this sounds amazing. Honestly, like I think I'm excited for anybody that's watching that wants to check out, and hop into your Discord and get connected to the community that you guys are building. Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad that we got to connect. I know you guys we've been connecting for a couple of years now, at least.
Yeah.
Just because of the Plarium connection. But yeah, it's awesome to have you guys on, and super psyched to see the vision and the direction. Like, man, I'm hyped for you guys. It's such a fun part of the development cycle. We're at kind of like it's a pretty fun, but it's it's all intense. You guys know it's all intense. Every part, every stage is
emotions. That's what it is. You always like. I think that whenever you create something, either a game or something, you essentially, and when we have this experience, you essentially creating a baby, right? So you getting, attached to it, you build it, like, if we, paraphrasing it, it's like you educating it, like you tell it, you envision where it could go and how it would do that. And it's amazing. It's hard. There are some tough times for parents, but also when you're finally proud of your child, like, that's the best thing in the world, I guess. So yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's so rewarding.
I love that. I love that. Well, Brad, you wanna round us out? Like, ask them the most important question before we get out of here.
Yeah. Thanks. It's usually on the way out, we like to get your vibe on, like, what is your favorite mythological hero type champion throughout history, because that's kind of the vibe we're going with in our game is all of those mythologies coming to life. Now, you can't say Heimdall, obviously.
Nice try.
But do you have a certain mythological figure that you're like, oh, it would be super sick to see it in a game like this?
Well, first of all, you ruined it for me. I was already lined up with the
He was ready. He's like,
have you already seen, by the way, our version of Heimdall? You seen it yet?
Of course. Come on, man.
I think we're represented pretty well, right?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Definitely. And come on, we both we love Raid. We play it a lot. So we'll probably also try God Forge. Let's put it this way. Yeah.
Nice.
What is this probably thing?
Probably?
Hang
Come
on.
Cut.
I'm standing on the lines. I'm not promising anything. Yeah, I really like Yu-Gi-Oh. When I was a child, which is like if you
Yu-Gi-Oh
have
collab.
played it, like this
Okay.
card game, so Ra and Obelisk and all those kind of like things that I remember as a child. Those are the ones that like immediately came to my mind.
The
Okay,
Egyptian gods, love it, love it. And then Ori.
For me, I would say Poseidon. He could be very calm. But when you get him angry,
Angry.
yeah, because you could drown pretty fast, and like the things that you could do with that, involving some like mythical sea creatures, on top of the water elements, that could be very nice. Like one of the it's a bit different, but one of the funniest movies that I've watched is Sharknado. It's like they took Sharknado and put sharks in
So
it.
Poseidon and then a collab with Sharknado. I love this. If it
Yeah,
happens, you guys know where it came from.
Yeah, so they took something like wind, some nature stuff, and they put sharks in it, and it's like, oh my god, it's so funny. and they somehow made a couple of movies. So it's
Yeah, how that became two, I'm not sure, but good effort.
yeah. And then you can
Both
put like
were
a
well worth the
chainsaw
time.
that, the golden chainsaw there. So it's also pretty funny. But yeah, you
Yeah.
could put a lot with that. So from a creative perspective, I would say like go for water elements and involve some things that you might not actually see.
Oh yeah, love it.
Love that.
Love these.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, well, guys, this has been a lot of fun, and I do have to ask you because I was a massive Diablo 3 player. Did you play like seasons, hardcore, softcore? Did you?
Hardcore all the way from season 1.
There you go.
My guy, my
played
guy.
You guys need to
softcore.
hang out. It seems like you guys are gonna be buds.
Yeah. We my clan won the first 19 seasons of hardcore on NA. So I don't know if you're on
That's
a
a lot
different
of
server.
seasons. 19 seasons.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
I think
The leaderboards are still there. Yeah. So yeah, I was probably tied with you in terms of hours on Diablo 3. Yeah.
That's
that was
by the
awesome
way,
to hear.
for those that are keeping count, that's 11 and a half years of game. I just quickly did the math. 11 and a half years of game time. Damn,
Yep.
that's impressive. I love it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I don't know how much time it actually counts, gameplay perspective. When I sum like the entire stuff in their screen, it's somewhere around 7,000. Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's mad.
Well, hey guys, this was
Either
this was a
amazing,
blast.
yeah, or bad. Like,
Yeah, we're back.
right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was amazing to meet you and chat, and we will have the links down below. Definitely head over to the Discord and get ready to check out their game. It's going to be hype as well. So Sham,
Yeah.
Simon, Ori Ladarsky, or Ori, it's
Yeah.
been
Good luck,
fun.
guys.
Thank you so much
Thanks.
for having us.
Guys.
Bye, have a good day.
I'm out.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.